Hello and welcome everyone to Ruslan's Bortnik YouTube channel. My name is James Talberg and I'm here today again with Ruslan, going to discuss the latest about Ukraine. Ruslan, thank you so much for being here. It's been a while since I saw you.
Hello, James. It's a pleasure for me. Thank you for this ability.
So I would like to start today with the situation on the front line. We haven't discussed for quite a bit now what is happening on the front line and specifically with the map situation, if we can see what are the changes since our last conversation about the front line. Yeah, go ahead.
I will try to show the map because the situation in front line for Ukraine is still very negative, and sometimes in some places even close to catastrophic, unfortunately. And if we will count down back for 1 week, just to count in the land access, land control, you can see that nowadays Russia is controlling 111,457 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory. But week ago, it was only the same thousands, but 340 square kilometers. So it means that during the last week, Russia occupied for more than 110 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory. So Russia is going on, and Russia is continuing her offensive operation in Ukrainian lands, and Ukrainian army is not still able to stop this offensive operation.
To balance the situation, just for our viewers, because you have opened up the map already for people who watch us to understand, we're looking at the Donbas region and specifically the Kurahovo, that gap that Russians are trying to close.
Yeah, this is Kurahovo pocket. And
yeah, so-called Kurahovo pocket, yeah.
Pocket, yeah, this is Великая Novoselka pocket, and these cities are together with Pokrovsk, they are main cities of southern part of Donbas. And nowadays, Russian army is trying to surround the cities. You see this offensive line, and to capture the cities. And to capture the city to get these territories, but not this situation is the most dangerous. The most dangerous not only if Ukrainian army will lose these territories and these cities, they are almost empty of citizens, of habitants, because people lived that territory under the shells, under the coming the front line, near to them. But there is another, not even tactical, but strategical risk. Just look in general map. Here is one of the biggest Ukrainian cities, Zaporizhia. It's a capital of one of the Ukrainian region. And there is Dnipropetrovsk, is another very big Ukrainian cities. And if Russian forces will be able to capture these areas, now they are trying to surround.
Yeah, these two pockets, yeah.
Yeah, these two pockets, they will be able to start a huge offensive operation to the west, because we have empty lands there. You can see there is no one big cities till the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast and almost till the Zaporizhia.
So, Ruslan, if we can break it down for you, I just have two questions before we move forward. The first question, we've been discussing with you for probably a little bit over a month how Russians are slowly but steadily advancing, specifically in that Donbas region. They've been slowly but steadily taking over more and more land. How come Ukraine could not stabilize that situation in such a long time period?
Because of absence of reserves. It's official statement, and unofficial statement, it's because of Kursk operation, when Ukraine is using our most prepared, most powerful parts of our army, and because of general Russian advantage on Ukrainian forces, if we are taking account the resources. Russia still has a significant dominance in air. If you are talking of the aviation, flying bombs, and so on, Russia has significant dominance in artillery. Russia has significant dominance in amount of troops, amounts of soldiers in battlefields. So in some places there, Russia has more soldiers than Ukraine in 10, even 15 times. So Russia is trying to use this disbalance to cut Ukrainian lands, to push Ukrainian forces back, to make a small surroundings, small fire pockets in different fields of battlefield, and there is no resolution still how to make this problem done. There is no resolution because only a very sharp increasing of support for Ukraine, if we are talking about the military support, only a very sharp increasing of mobilization inside of Ukraine, and maybe even the Western troops in the territory of Ukraine could resolve this problem. We have general disbalance, military disbalance in this war, and this disbalance could not be resolved in the nearest future if we are taking into account the Ukrainian resources.
Now, when you're saying that the bigger threat here in terms of the strategic is that when you're referring to the empty lands that Russians could move faster and get to the next big city, you mean that because there is no villages and there is no buildings that Ukrainians can start using as their defense system, that's how Russians could advance? That's what you're referring to?
To be honest, and of course, understand that it looks very rude, very brutal, things which I'm going to talk about. But in this war, of course, any settlement, any village, any city, it's like a fortress in this war because it's artificial buildings. Communications and so on, which army is able to use in defense. So it's every settlement like a small or big mountain for enemies' advantage offensive operation. And if you are looking at this map, you can see that there is no one big city till Zaporizhia. Only a middle settlement, biggest of them, the biggest of them is habited only by 10,000 people, and villages, a lot of villages. Moreover, this land is very flat land, without forests, without any cuts, without big rivers, all very flat lands, which is very useful and convenient for offensive forces.
So at the end of the day, when they're getting to that part of a flat land, no big cities, and because Russia has an advantage in personnel and equipment, it's going to be easier for them to advance faster once they get to that point. Is that like the conclusion out of that situation?
Yeah, and this is the conclusion, and this is a significant risk for Ukraine, because if Ukraine will lose Zaporizhia, or even if the front line, just look at this region, even the front line will go across near the Zaporizhia, for example, even like this way. Yeah. It means that under fire will be not only the Zaporizhia, but also Dnipro, and also Nikopol, Marganets, and Kryvyi Rog. All these cities, I will make the line to show these cities. Sorry for the quality of my drawing, it's not my best skill. All these cities together, this is the industrial heart of Ukraine. All these cities together are playing the major role in Ukrainian industrial production. So if the front will go near these cities, Ukraine will lose a very big amount of Ukrainian GDP, our
A
industrial
big part of the economy, because this is the
a big part
industrial
of
production of Ukraine.
economy, and moreover, this area is very good habitat. We are talking about the possible next few million refugees again,
Either
because
inside Ukraine, or they can move to Western
partly
countries.
inside of Ukraine, if we are talking about Ukrainian men, but partly also for abroad. I think this battlefield battle for this area can provoke the few millions refugees to abroad also again for the Europe especially. So this region is critical, important for the general leading of the war. To be honest, in this situation, the fights around Donetsk and Donbass not so important for this war, because these fights is still far away from the main administrative and
They're still
industrial.
tactical. Yeah.
Yeah. Zaporizhia is quite another case.
In that case, Ukraine is still holding to the Kursk region. Wouldn't that be smarter to relocate the forces from the Kursk region to save the situation on the eastern part of Ukraine?
It's not easy questions, because there are different views and thoughts on this question. But if we are talking a military logic, if we are talking about the long-term war, of course, it will be more clever to withdraw from Kursk region and to use these best Ukrainian forces in defense fights in Donbass, for example. But if we are talking about the negotiation logic,
from the political perspective,
if we are talking about the preparation for possible negotiation between Zelensky, Trump, and Putin, this tomb in Russian lands could play a very important role when the sides will sitting around the table and will try to find the balance to weight their ability and to weight their what they have. So for only the negotiation logic pushes the Ukrainian government to fight for this part of Kursk region because the situation in the battlefield there is very hard, and Ukraine is suffering of very hard losses there because we are not able to build there a very good offensive buildings in place, and because it was a place of war, and there are not any big settlements. The biggest of them, Suja, is only 4,000 or 5,000 people, and there is not places which could be very suitable to defense.
How about the Kharkiv region that is not far from Kursk? We had some counteroffensive and offensive operation on both sides in that region. Is it stable, balanced, or any of the sides are trying to make any significant advantages in that region?
There is no any significant advantages during the last weeks. Of course, both sides trying to cross the border and to make a short investigation in intelligence operation.
Testing the ground.
Yeah, but there is not a very significant changes in this region, maybe except of development of Russian offensive operation on the left bank of river Oskol. You can see Russian forces divided Ukrainian presence of the left bank of this river. Here is a river, and Russian forces divided Ukrainian presence in two parts: in Kupiansk part and Borova part. And it looks like Russian forces are preparing to the final attack to the Kupiansk. They will try to achieve the Kupiansk, I think, their nearest months. They are preparing for this final attack to Kupiansk, which in previous time, which was the so-called capital of Russia-occupied part of Kharkivska Oblast.
Ruslan, you've mentioned before that Ukraine is now, from the political logic, is trying to hold off to the Kursk because they're anticipating that that will give them an advantage in the future negotiation. When do you estimate the official negotiation between the sides could start?
I think we are in negotiation. Just now we are in already. But this stage of negotiation, we are calling at this stage consultations. It's a negotiation with an attempt to research the position of the opponent, not to prepare the agreement. If we are taking the stage of preparing of the agreement, it will happen after the inauguration of the Trump, after the January 2025. But now we have a very tough, very wide, very multi-level consultation between Ukraine and the United States and Russia, with participation of different types of mediators, countries,
like Turkey,
persons, enterprises, religious leaders of the world. We have a very tough process of consultations.
We talked today about the situation on the front line. We see that Russia is slowly but steadily advancing. We talked about the strategical threats to Ukraine and to Ukrainian citizens and to the Ukrainian economy if Russians are getting closer to those main industrial cities with their front line, with their soldiers. That being said, what do you think could be the trends if the negotiation will fail, if the peace will not going to be achieved, how the war could look like in 2025 and what trends we can portray now as we're getting closer to 2025?
I don't want to look very average in this question, because, and the horizon of our prediction of our think tank is till 3 months, not more, because we don't have enough data to count. Prediction it's like a math. When we are counting resources, we take in account the goals of the sites and trying to predict some developments of the future. 3 months is not more. Everything is depending on the negotiation. And I think the end of this war will be very fatal and very unexpected.
Fast and unexpected.
And unexpected. Yet it could happen for not on the battlefields, but it could happen inside of the opponents. Any destabilization political in Ukraine or Russia or even in the United States will make a significant influence on general this war. I want to believe, I have a hope to find it of compromise between the sides. But unfortunately, for nowadays, most possible scenario, it's a capitulation of one of the side. It's still capitulation of one of the side. It's fully exhaustion of one of the side and losing the ability to continue this war. But it really very much depends on Trump and from his will and from his power to implement his view on this war.
What could Ukraine look like at the end of the war, after the war ends? From the political...
It depends on the conditions of the peaceful agreement or absence of this agreement. Of course, if I was in a very tough dialogue with one of my colleagues today, he said, Zelensky don't want peace because he will lose power. It's a very common position, not only in Ukraine, but in the world also. I think this position is not literal. This position is only a partly true truth. Full truth looks another way. Zelensky and his team and Putin and his team, they are absolutely ready for the peace agreement if this peace agreement will guarantee their power.
And safety.
and safety, of course, guarantee of power and safety. So if the sides will find the compromise which strengthen their power and their ability to manage the Ukraine and Russia and United States, Ukraine will be successful middle power, restoring, developing, and democratizing country. If the war will go on, of course, Ukraine will not be democracy. Ukraine will be poor, very poor, very depressing, and lost country. Continuation of this war for a long time. It's not also a goal of Zelensky, because war forever. It means war forever. It means that he will lose power in the end, in any case. Or because of military defeat, because of exhaustion, in internal exhaustion. So all the sides has the time limits. They have goals to keep the power, to save their power, and they have a lot of weight stones between them, or balanciers, weight stones or balanciers between them. We prepared more than 30 of these balanciers in our researches, which could be used for finding the compromise, for keeping the interest of all the sides.
So basically, if we can summarize it, we have two strict options. One of them is if the negotiation will go productive and successfully, and sides will be able to find compromises, both sides will be at the win, and specifically Ukraine will be able to restore democracy, slowly start rebuilding the economy, and restoring the infrastructure. The second option is that Ukraine will become a more militarized hub, with people constantly, the population of Ukraine constantly, slowly leaving Ukraine, and the conflict will continue at different stage or different phase or different volume of the war. Those are the only two options that we're looking at this moment.
We have much more options, but I think this is maybe
the two main ones. Two main
options, because I think you saw the publications in the Western mass media about the Western troops in Ukraine, about the accession to the NATO, Western Ukraine, and so on. There are too many options for now, but the main options is a compromise. The main options is continuation of the war with unpredictable result in the end. The main options is frozen of the conflict. It's the major option for nowadays. It's a unofficial frozen of the conflict, when there will not be any official agreement, but there will be a lot of unofficial agreements with mediators behind the curtains, this frozen this war.
Ruslan, thank you so much for your comments today and breaking down of the front line. We'll come back with more political updates at the end of the week, what is happening in Ukraine in terms of the political perspective. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, James, and thank you, our watchers, for interest for our video. Don't forget to make thumb up, and don't forget to subscribe for our channel. Thank you.